By now we've identified some of the practices that would go into securing the resources on your network, be it servers, be it clients, and be it devices, but we also need to examine our administration practices and make sure that we are implementing secure administrative practices, because one of the highest levels of threats to a network is how we actually design our administration. There's fewer people who can do more damage in less amount of time than the people who are actually administering the network. So we want to take stock of a few secure administration practices that are recommended. One of these is that you only use the administrator accounts for administration. If you are getting on the computer, even if you're the administrator, if you're using the computer to send email or to check websites or something like that, all you use is a normal user account. You use an administrator account only for your administrative duties. And that way, administrative practices, if you've got auditing set up the way you should or need to, it can be tracked to a specific account. You also need to end your administrative sessions as soon as your administrative task is completed. And related to that is to use the run as command to perform your administrative task. That's one way that can help you end an administrative session immediately, and rather than log on as administrator, do your administrative task, and then leave the computer and leave a wide open security hole into the network. One other recommended security practice is not to perform administration of critical servers remotely. Sometimes this presents too high a security risk. You actually have to be there physically at the machine in order to administer the machine. And that just, again, when you are remotely trying to administer a server, that server, it just takes away a level of security or a layer of security. Your physical presence in front of the computer is one layer of security that oftentimes gets overlooked. You should also never compromise security for convenience. That goes back and really dovetails into the point about remote administration, and that's because the price you pay for convenience is far less. It's not nearly as great as the price you would pay if security gets compromised and your network goes down or you lose sensitive data that you're not supposed to lose. And then finally, secure your administrative tools that you use to administer the network, because if anybody can get access to those tools, then anybody can perform the administrative functions that, again, has the potential for great harm on your network. So how do we secure some of these administrative tools? Well, there's a set of guidelines for securing your administrative tools, and it goes into the logical security design plan. One of these recommendations is that you only install the tools that are necessary to accomplish the administrative tasks that you need. If you have tools that can do more things that you need, then you open up the potential for greater problems than you might otherwise have. You should also use access control list to restrict access to your administrative tools. You should disable the features of tools that are unused. Again, that kind of is related to the installation of only the necessary tools to accomplish your administrative tasks. You might want to consider disallowing remote access. As we mentioned earlier, this would let, again, providing that extra layer of security, a hacker who knows your password and username might be able to remotely administer a server, but they might not be able to access the building. They might not be able to gain physical access to the server if you've disallowed remote access for administration of that server. And then finally, another thought to keep in mind is that you can use software restriction policies, which might prevent the use of certain tools or certain files that are necessary to launch those administrative tools. So you can designate through your software restriction policies, as part of a group policy object, exactly who can use which files. And of course, those files might be able to open up an MMC to administer a particular server or a service running on your network. So these are things that all go into the logical security design plan: the secure administration practices and the securing of your administrative tools.